And then genetics, we waited over probably about a year and a half to 2 years it took them to do a whole genetic sequencing testing. And it first came back Pompe disease. They misdiagnosed our Danon disease. And they took the blood, because he had liver, he had yes, he has Wolff-Parkinson's-White's disease, and he had a liver biopsy when he was 5 as well. And that's what the storage glycogen came, and they're like, well, we don't know what this is. We're stumped. We don't know where to go from here. And then they sent us to like neurology and all these other things, and then the genetics was last. Then the genetics came back to the wrong answer with the Pompe disease. Then they're like, we have to do this testing again. Then it came back to the Danon for the second testing. And then it came back, well, we need my blood work. And then it came from me. And then they saved my life. I was 20, makes me sad. Excuse me, sorry. I legit think that they saved my life. Because it's hard knowing, like, I grew up, I passed it out all the time. I had hard times at sports. I enjoyed being outside. I loved it. I was a tomboy. And we live in the country, so it's like, I loved it. And the doctors are like, heat exhaustion, nothing, sore throat, and just knocked me off. And I had the growing pains. I've had lazy eye. I've had all the symptoms, and I was just blown away. But for them they saved my life. And, you know, excuse me, sorry.
2 weeks after they were diagnosed?
I know, 2 weeks after they were diagnosed in February in 2016, that's when I ended up in the hospital. They were like, they said, your boys, they said he definitely had Danon disease. Stevens had Danon disease, and it came back to me that I should probably test him, that he has the signs and the symptoms, but I had to force them to test him because I was like, I want it on paper. Like, I don't just want you to say, hey, he has the same symptoms. Like, just because he has the same symptoms doesn't mean, like, I want it on paper. So we got it on paper, and then 2 weeks later, I was in the hospital with my first pacemaker, like 2 days shy of my 28th birthday. And then a couple years later, my second pacemaker and heart transplant list. But I'm stable for right now, thank the Lord. And I've had a Hickman port line in me. I've been on a rocket roller coaster ride. I've been on a rocket roller coaster ride.
That is a really good analogy, I know. And you've been living this now for a few years now.
Quite since 2016.
Yeah, and you've actually come a long way, you know, from speaking and hearing about your journey. I thought maybe it would be really good, you know, thank you for sharing that, first of all, because actually there are, I think online right now, there's some newly diagnosed Danon patients that I've been in contact with, and I know they're listening right now. So I think it's really important for you to share that. It's very real. Mm-hmm. Can you share with us, and because it really touched me when actually you shared me about what happens in a typical day. So what does a typical day look like for you guys?
The typical day, school is he likes to not go to school. He has a very hard time, in school. It's a behavior. But they have a lot of help in school. They have IEPs, and they're in an amazing school. And private school couldn't ask for any more better help than what I have going on with them. And the extra, because of the developmental delay with them as well. So, but he just doesn't want to go. He fights me, and I'm exhausted every morning because I love you, Stephen, but it gets scary when it's in the morning, and I'm like, okay, how is the morning going to go? Are you going to fight? Are you going to go to school? Or, I just learned to try to breathe now, because he's getting to the age I can't fight him. So luckily, he goes to school because he knows that it's very rough in the morning. But then when we get them, everything's good. But their activities, they don't do a lot of activities. They play mainly a little bit of Xbox. We're a little Xbox gaming little group since we don't get to go out because the sun, our medicine that we're on, the sun is no bueno. The amiodarone messes with, now we're both on it, so it messes with us pretty good.
And you live in Florida.
Yes, but I love it. I like the heat. But it's hard for myself. Like, I struggle with doing daily things now. I'm starting to struggle again with mopping and laundry and like just the little things.